Today we're going to start learning about Unit 2. The very first thing in Unit 2 is to combine like terms. And we kind of talked about this already this year, but we're really going to zone in and focus on what it means to combine like terms with positives and negatives. Maybe, if it'll go. There it goes. We're not going to do that integer practice. Numerical coefficient. Now, write down whatever I underline and tell you to write down, okay? So you need to write down that numerical coefficient is any number in front of a variable in a term. So if you need to pause that and write it, that's fine. If there's no number in front of the variable, the numerical coefficient is understood to be 1, okay? So we need to write down some examples of that. Some examples would be 4a. 4 is the coefficient, and a would be the variable. So any letter that represents a number that we don't know is the variable. So on this one, 10 is the coefficient. On B, it's that where it says the numerical coefficient is understood to be 1, if it's not there, then that means there's a 1 there. There's an invisible 1 in front of there. Because if there's AB, then that means there's 1B. And then -6. Your coefficient can be negative. Make sure it's the number in front of the variable being multiplied to it. Like terms are terms with the exact same variables or variable raised to the same power. You need to make sure you write that down. So if you need to pause it, write this down. Terms with the exact same variables or variables with the same power. They have to have the same variable and exponent. So, for example, 4x and -10x are like terms because they both have the same variable to the same power. See on this, and you can start having variables, multiple variables. So x to the second power times y, as long as then the other one has x to the second power y, then those are like terms. If it just had xy, those would not be like terms because it doesn't have the second power right there. xy is the same variables, and so we could add or subtract whatever it's asking for on that one, and xy to the third power are also like terms. So we need to determine whether these are like or unlike terms. So I want you to try to do this. You don't have to write all of these down. Write a few of them down and decide, are they like terms or unlike terms? So pause it, see if you can figure it out. Okay, the first one is going to be like terms because of the x's. The second one is unlike terms because this is xy, and that is just y. 5x to the second and 9x are unlike because the 9 doesn't have the second power. 9x to the second y and 4x to the second y are like because they have the same powers with the exponents. Powers with the variables. 3xy squared, and 7x squared y are unlike. They both have a second power, but the 3 has a y to the second power. The 7 has an x to the second power. Those are not the same things. And 17ab and -21ab are like terms. We're not going to play the matching game. This is really important, though. You need to write this down. The subtraction sign and the negative sign. You're going to see this a lot. They are the same thing. So when we combine like terms, I want to say the signs in front of the number, whether it's a subtraction sign, a plus sign, that means a positive or negative. So, like on 4 minus 9, we would do keep, change to change it to 4 plus -9. But you could have just said, that's a positive 4 and a -9. Okay? So, like 5a minus 4 becomes 5a plus -4 because that minus sign is actually telling you it's negative. So, let's actually practice this. So, we can only add or subtract what they have in common. If they have all x's, then we can put them all together. So 5x plus 9x, we add the coefficients. So that's 14x. And then we say, okay, can I subtract these? Well, they both have x's, so yes, I can. 14 minus 2x, 12x is 2x. On number 2, 14x and 6x are alike. Those are the only ones that can be put together. So we can add 14x plus 6x, which is 20x, and then just bring down what you have left, which is plus 9. We cannot add those together because the 9 does not have the x. Now, here's some more realistic ones that you're going to see, where they're kind of all mixed up and there's a lot more numbers to it. So if you look, 9a to the second power, I want to tell you to do something called bubble and move. So you need to write this down. When we have a bubble, you're going to have the sign, the number, and the variable all inside of a circle. So if you need to pause and write that down, we're going to have inside of a bubble, we're going to put our sign, number, and variable. So on this, on 9a to the second power, what kind of sign is that? Well, if it's not there, that's a positive. That's a positive 9a to the second power. This is sign, number, and variables. Even if there's multiple variables, that's negative 6ab. This is negative 11a to the second power. This is positive 10ab. If you notice, everything is inside of a bubble. There should be nothing left out. So we have positive 9a to the second power, and negative 6ab, negative 11a to the second power, and positive 10ab. These are called terms. So when we say combine like terms, that's a term, that's a term, that's a term, that's a term. There's 4 terms in that problem. When we move, we're going to move these, bubble and move. We're going to move our like terms together. So 9, we normally do this in alphabetical order. So 9a to the second power and 11a to the second power, those have the same variable and exponent, so we can put those together. We're going to rewrite our problem. We're going to use 9a to the second power. Once I use it, I'm going to mark it out. And then we're going to put our other a to the second power, minus 11a to the second power, and mark it out. Then we're going to finish the problem by putting, at the end, we have negative 6ab and positive 10ab. So we've rewritten the problem where our a's are all together and our ab's are all together. So 9a to the second power minus 11a to the second power. You have to know how to add and subtract your negatives. We had to learn that before we can learn this. So you can use keep, change, change, and then sing your song. Same signs, keep and add, different signs, subtract, take the sign of the bigger number, and you keep the variable and exponent. That stays. That's the reason we can add and subtract those. So that's the answer to that part of your problem. Then you have negative 6ab plus 10ab. They are different signs, so we subtract. We will get 4ab, and it is a positive because 10 is positive and it's bigger. That is your final answer. You cannot add those together because negative 2 has the a to the second power, and 4 has a, b. I was looking at number 4. Let's see. So we have, let's bubble and move. So write it down with me. Go ahead and write it down. If you need to pause it, that's fine. And then we're going to bubble and move. So we have negative 6a, positive 7, negative 3b, positive 4, positive 2a, positive b. Now, we say the sign, number, and variable has to be in the bubble. If they don't have a variable, that's okay. That's called a constant. So if they have no variable, it's totally fine. So we have negative 6a. Look and see, do we have any other a's? We have positive 2a. There's no more a's. Now we're going to bring down our b's. So I have a negative 3b. I'll mark that out. And I have a positive b. Now remember, if you don't see a number in front of that, there's an invisible 1 there. That's 1b. Then I have a positive 7 and a minus 4. These constants without any variables always go at the back of the problem. Now I like to go back and count, especially when I have a long list of numbers. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 terms, just to make sure I don't leave one out. So now let's put our a's together, our b's together, and our constants together. So negative a plus 2a, they're different signs, so we subtract, and we keep the sign of the bigger number. So that's negative 4a. Negative 3b plus 1b, different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, and also keep your variable. Then 7 minus 4, that's positive 3. That's your final answer because you cannot take anything else together. You can't put any of the other ones together. All right, I want you to try these on your own, and we'll go over these tomorrow in class. So pause the video and try these 4 problems on your own. Check your answers, and if you haven't pressed pause before this, then go back and make sure you don't see all the answers before you answer them. If we have any questions about them, we'll go over them tomorrow in class. Have a good day.